Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. All you have to do is let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the sun are moving across the landscape, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese are high in the clean blue air, heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, announcing your place in the family of things.
Good evening, friends. I am Marvin Barnes, the rising presiding clerk of Central Committee, the governing body for French General Conference. I'd like to welcome you to our Monday night gathering and plenary session. I will be your host this evening, and we have a small program for you before we get to the plenary session. But we will kick things off with a few comments of a technical nature. Our technical support specialist, Julia.
Yes, Marvin, thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening. First, I'd like to say we are happy to offer Spanish interpretation during virtual gatherings evening programs this year. Tonight's volunteer interpreters are Vicky Porman and Marianne Dauk. When the host activates interpretation, a globe will appear on the bottom of your screen among the control icons. Click the globe and select the language you would like to listen in English for the US flag and Spanish for the Spanish flag. You can switch between channels during the presentation. If you are in a Spanish channel, you can mute the original audio so you are only hearing the interpreter and not the speaker. This can help to make the audio clearer. For logging in on a tablet or phone, click the three dots, then More, select Language Interpretation, then select your language choice, then click Done. If you need help, please send a chat to Tech Interpretation in the chat box. Thank you for your support in making virtual gathering more accessible to Spanish speakers. Estamos felices para ofrecer interpretación en español para los programas respectivos en la reunión virtual este año. Esta noche sus intérpretes voluntarias son Vicky Porman y Marianne Dauk. Cuando se prende la interpretación, un globo aparece en los iconos en la parte inferior de su pantalla de Zoom. Haga clic en el globo y seleccione el idioma que usted quiere escuchar. La bandera de los Estados Unidos para inglés o la de España para español. Puede cambiar entre los canales durante la presentación. Si usted está en el canal de español, puede silenciar el audio original para que solo escuche el intérprete y no lee parlante. Esto ayuda a hacer el audio del intérprete más claro. Si necesita ayuda, favor de mandar un mensaje en el chat a Tech Interpretation. Si tiene una tableta o un teléfono inteligente, haga clic en los 3 puntos y más. Seleccione Interpretación de idiomas, seleccione Español y haga clic en Finalizado. Gracias por hacer su parte para hacer la reunión virtual más inclusiva para hispanohablantes. Thank you for joining our event this evening. My name is Khalik, and I'll be providing tech support for anyone in need. You can reach out by clicking the chat icon at the bottom of your Zoom window and choosing my name from the list of options. Please keep in mind that this is a Zoom webinar, so those of you joining as attendees have been muted. Your communication will be limited to using the chat box that I just mentioned at the bottom of your Zoom window. When time has come for question and answers during our program, we ask that you share those questions in the question and answer panel, which you can also access at the bottom of your Zoom window. Click that icon, and then you can either provide a question with your name or provide it anonymously. Thanks again for joining us, and I'll turn it over to our MC, Marvin Barnes.
As mentioned last night by our General Secretary, this virtual gathering was put together in 3 months through the hard work of staff and a number of volunteers. So far, we've been seeing a good turnout. We've been seeing some good content, and we hope that will carry on through the week. I'd like to give a special welcome to the individuals in Pacific Yearly Meeting, our newest affiliated meeting. Pacific Yearly Meeting covers a territory that's vast, starting in California, going south to Mexico, and out into the Pacific to Hawaii. Thank you for joining us, friends, and we hope you will share your spiritual journeys with the rest of FGC. As many of you know, we've had pre-gatherings this past weekend. The Friends of Color pre-gathering had a record turnout. We've had friends from as far away as Switzerland. The Young Adult Friends had a pre-gathering, and it has been a success also. Friends around the world are aware of our gathering and occasionally send us greetings. Here is a greeting from Australia that I'd like to share with you. Dear friends, usually we receive greetings from you before we begin our yearly meeting each year. This year I wanted to send you all a greeting instead as we begin to settle in the space of earnestly preparing hearts and minds for our yearly meeting gathering here in Australia. Quakers in Australia will hold a virtual yearly meeting this year, and we are hopeful and proceeding in faith that we will be able to be with one another in ways that will keep us connected as a Quaker community that are internal. Although we will have fewer business sessions and we will have time for fun, sharing, learning, and reflection, and even times for a scheduled online Coupa, we want to let you know that we feel connected to you all in the wider Quaker Fellowship, and we will be holding you, dear friends, in the light as we step into this strange, familiar meeting place. We wanted to let you know that we feel connected to all of you. Our yearly meeting gathering begins officially 9 a.m. Australian Standard Time, July 4th, and will conclude on Friday evening, July 10th at 5:30 p.m. With the reading of our epistles and closing worship. In peace, Australian Yearly Meeting Secretary, Jacqueline Schultz. At this time, I would like to introduce Faith Joseph and John Greenler, who would like a few minutes of your time before we begin our plenary presentation.
Good evening, friends. I'm John Greenler, a member of Madison, Wisconsin Monthly Meeting and clerk of the FGC Development Committee. And I'm excited to be participating along with you in FGC's first ever virtual gathering. On behalf of FGC's Development Committee, Faith Josephs and I have a story to share with you tonight before we begin the plenary session.
Hello, friends. My name is Faith Josephs. I am the Associate Secretary for Development with FGC, and I am joining you from my home in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it is such a joy to be here with all of you and to feel so connected to friends across the country, across the world, and to be able to be together for this special presentation tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting FGC. When you participate in programming like tonight, like this week's gathering, when you make a donation to FGC or serve on a committee, you are supporting not only your spiritual journey, but the spiritual journeys of many other friends as well. So I have a brief story to share with all of you about spiritual journeys. This is from a young adult friend who reflected on how the FGC gathering and being involved in FGC has impacted her life. Ellie Greenler comes from a family that loves the FGC gathering. She can remember when her grandmother was a co-clerk of gathering many years ago, and her parents continue to attend gathering today and serve on the FGC Central Committee. Ellie's first gathering was when she was just 4 years old. Later on, in middle school, she had an aha moment. It was a moment when she truly realized that she was a Quaker. This took place in a leadership workshop in junior gathering. She had always looked up to the junior gathering staff. They were young adults, so not too much older than she was. And she realized that one of the reasons that she wanted to be like them was because they had a strong Quaker presence. And Ellie realized that she too wanted to be as grounded in her own Quaker spirituality as they were. These experiences led Ellie to remain engaged in her monthly and yearly meeting. And later on, Ellie became that same sort of role model for other young friends. She started working as staff in junior gathering, and she continues to serve friends today by being on the FGC Central Committee. I've had the chance to get to know Ellie, and I see that she is a role model, not just for young friends, but for friends of all ages. As she talked about her spiritual journey, she said, FGC provided a constant grounding space for me. It continued to pull me back to the things that matter, despite chaos that took place in other parts of my life. Ellie's wish now for FGC, as we work toward our goal of transforming into an actively anti-racist faith community, is that we can be nimble enough to make the changes necessary for this transformation.
So Ellie had been serving on central and executive committees for several years before I got involved with FGC. I can remember the first time I was in a committee meeting with her. A key decision was being made, and it looked like we were closing in on clearness. But I could tell that Ellie was not settled. It was from her experience as a young adult friend. It was not an easy situation for those gathered, and it brought fresh insight and changed the course of the decision to be more altered by a friend of any age.
Friends, I know that it was a little tricky to hear John's audio, but he was speaking specifically about an experience when Ellie served as an elder in a Quaker business meeting. That was quite powerful. When you make contributions to FGC, like so many of you did when you registered for this week's gathering, you are supporting young adult friends like Ellie, as well as friends of all ages, seeking to deepen our spiritual journeys and engage in Quaker community. As we've all experienced, this is a challenging year. COVID-19 has impacted all of us. Moving the FGC gathering online, as so many friends are saying, it was a huge change for us. And the pandemic has been impacting our ability to put on our regular programming, and it has been impacting our fundraising as well. Our goal is to continue meeting the needs of friends and meetings in this new environment that we are all facing today. And we need your support to do that. In this time of uncertainty, we need your help to continue offering our regular programming, like the FGC gathering, like spiritual deepening e-retreats that take place year-round, and the new offerings, the new worships being put on by our Ministry on Racism, plus our consistent support of monthly and yearly meetings. I know that so many of you have already made contributions. Thank you for that. You are making an impact. If you have not yet made a gift to FGC this year, I invite you. Tonight, this week would be a great time to make a gift. For those of you who have already contributed, I invite you to consider, if you are able, to make an additional gift. A gift of any amount will be deeply appreciated. And your support will help us continue on in these uncertain times. Thanks to all of you and your support. We will continue to nurture the spiritual vitality of friends in a time when it is needed more than ever.
Tonight and all of Gathering Week, most of us are at home in front of our computers. So I invite you to visit the FGC website and consider making a gift online. And you're welcome to mail contributions to the FGC office. The donate link is in the Zoom chat box. Your participation, service, and support is what makes opportunities like this gathering possible. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you, John and Faith. Friends, tonight's plenary session is entitled Prayer, Poetry, and Music in the Midst of Quarantine and Injustice. The session is led by Dr. Amanda Kemp, who is a passionate advocate for racial justice and healing, empowering cross-cultural dialogue on issues of race. Dr. Kemp blends activism and spirituality, theater arts, and history. A survivor of the New York foster care system, Dr. Kemp has been a lifelong poet, performer, and advocate of justice. As a student at Stanford University, she was a leader in student movements to divest from South Africa and to press the university to revamp Eurocentric curriculum requirements. Tonight, she is joined by her husband, Dr. Michael Jamanis, and their son in a message to friends.
Thank you. Thank you, Marvin. Thank you to our friends Faith and John. And we want to start off with, of course, acknowledging our ancestors. I want to especially note the passing of a beloved mentor to me. Her name is Sonia, who passed away a few weeks ago. And this is the quilt that she created for me and Michael upon our marriage. And so I just invite you all to take a moment to think about somebody who has passed on, but who is steadfast in their love for you, no matter where they are. Michael, I want to do a little libation, just symbolically for all of us. So if you pass me that little plant. Thank you. So with this pouring of this beautiful fortified water into this plant, this symbolizes our gratitude to all those who've gone before us. Those ancestors in our biological lineage, those ancestors in our spiritual lineage, our artistic, creative, what did you say? Oh, I need to talk louder. In our creative, artistic, movement building lineage, we say thank you, we acknowledge you, and we know that we are the ones who step forward and who you asked to come forward to transform this country, to transform the wounds and the trauma and the perpetration of violence in our lineages. We accept that we are the ones who came forward to heal that. And so may tonight's sharing contribute to that, be in the river of that. And so it is. Ashe. Amen. Thank you. I'll just take another sip. So I'm going to share a poem now called The Ancestors. You know, the ancestors are calling you. You know, the ancestors are calling you. They say, remember me. They say, forgive me. They say, I forgive you. They call and they weep when they see us dead on our feet, when they see us walking nowhere, when they see us running after the same thing again and again and again and again. You here, you there, running for that check, to that man, for the job you hate, for that bottle, for that weed, for that woman, for that strawberry shortcake, the whole cake. Always looking without, never within. The ancestors are calling. The ancestors are calling on you to stop and know and remember, to feel and forgive. me, you, you, me. Remember, 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 remember. Thank you. I want to take a moment to introduce the third part of our pair that expanded into a trio. Sitting on my right is Matt Woodson. Matt Woodson is a percussionist from a line of musicians, a musical lineage, and we're very grateful to have him joining us today. I think enough said for now. I was going to say www.mattwoodson.com, but
they'll hear the
I'm making a joke. Because you're in our living room.
Yeah.
So, you know, at some level, I know this is called a plenary, but this is really about you being in our intimate space that we have labored to get the lighting or, you know, and to get the right everything for you. And of course, it is still our living room at the end of the day. And so I just want to acknowledge that and let you know that tonight, what you can expect from me and from us is some intimate sharing. And in the sharing, I'm sharing with you me on the journey, not me as having arrived. I think it's really important to share our experience, our strength, our hope, and some of the places that we've fallen down along the way. Because that is for real, what it is to move, you know, for justice and compassion, to walk the walk. There's going to be some falling down. So what we want to share with you today is how we use prayer, poetry, meditation, and music to help us get back up, to help to guide us, to help us go deeper, to help us heal. So that's what you can expect. I want to share with you a poem by a 19th century Black woman poet named Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. I had the opportunity to work with a young African-American student, high school student, who was the winner of Poetry Out Loud for the state of Pennsylvania in 2019. And we did a duo of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper's poems together. So I'm going to share this one with you because I want to call in the spirit of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, who had, who had roots in the African American church and who also had roots in the Unitarian tradition, who was a suffragette, who was a suffragette and who was also an abolitionist, who was a teacher, who was an educator, an organization builder, a parent, a mom. There's this long tradition of Black women who create mighty works and whose faith is astonishing. And Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, in addition to doing all that I just shared with you, managed to publish several volumes of poetry. So this is called Songs for the People. Let me make the songs for the people. Songs for the old and young, songs to stir like a battle cry wherever they are sung. Not for the clashing of sabers, for carnage nor strife, but songs to thrill the hearts of men with more abundant life. Let me make songs for the weary amid life's fever and fret, till hearts shall relax their tension and careworn brows forget. Let me sing for the little children before their footsteps stray, sweet anthems of love and duty to float over life's highway. I would sing for the poor and aged when shadows dim their sights of the bright and restful mansions where there shall be no night. Our world, so worn and weary, needs music, pure and strong, to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grown tender girdle the world with peace. Ashe, Francis Ellen Watkins Harper. Snap if you're feeling it. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, John. So, speaking of songs for the people and music pure and strong to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong, I'm going to bring back up my two bookends, the Oreo cookies in my sandwich, Michael and Matt.
Okay, well, I'm going to introduce this next part of the program, and I want to tell you a little bit about my inspiration behind this creation, and the environment. When the quarantine went in effect, when COVID overtook us all, our family was really the dynamic changed entirely. And I realized how fragile it all is. And so we had our kids coming home from college and people moving in with us that we really had not expected at the time. And so it put a lot of strains. As much as I felt love and appreciation for them being with me, I felt the anger, frustration, everything, because at the same time, a lot of my concerts realistically, they all got canceled, all the live concerts, and Matt goes into the schools with me, and we help in a school program together, and it all shut down, and so there was a lot of emptiness there, so during that time, it was very difficult, both for our family and a lot of reflection, a lot of frustration, forgiveness, a lot of things going on. And then, of course, I'm not sure when this came about, but when then all the uprisings occurred with the racial justice, and the elements that have taken place in our society, that threw a whole other experience into my family, being from a white background, having white parents, having white children. The conversations that came about were very magnified and animated and very true. Because they actually opened the door. They started asking these questions, and then I'd feel them, and I would field them. I would feel them and field them, because they thought I was this, because I'm married to Dr. Amanda Kemp, racial justice educator and mentor, that I have these certain beliefs, and it got very complicated. Very frustrating. I've learned a lot about my family. We've gotten a lot closer through this time. We've had conversations that we never would have had before. We've made a lot of progress. I'm feeling cleansing. I still feel anger, obviously, to elements of this society. And I feel it, but I hold space. After all, I am married to Amanda Kemp, so I hold space when I converse, when I feel this. Oh, so bringing me back to my expression, my violin has been with me forever. So through times, well, for 45 years, let's put it that way, not forever. So, and I play a lot of Beethoven, Mozart, Mendelssohn, all the Paganini, all that stuff. But I also like improvising. And the one night ever, actually, since I've known Amanda Kemp, that I watched the world news. We watched it together. And I went in afterwards and just played, and I had all these meditative feelings with the instrument. So this is kind of a result of watching the world news one night. And it's been kind of a fulfillment of an empty space that has developed. It has been filled in with another sort of creation. So I'm very fortunate that as an artist to be able to keep creating through my instrument, through my heart, and have that ability. So this is like 3 meditations that I came up with, and we put it to, then I invited Matt to participate. I said, hey, Matt, I need a beat. I need something else going on in here. So we did that, and then I was explaining the scope of it. I guess what I was thinking, the feeling was, well, the middle section is definitely kind of a spirit. It's a very spirited celebration of sorts. The last section begins with death and rebirth, and finding a sound amidst the lack of vibration. So that's what the last session is. The first session is just easing into the meditation. So. Thank you. It's a journey.
Wow.
It's a journey.
Talk about spirit. Whoa. Yeah, wow. Spirit. Oh, I feel like that piece is a dance. I gave it a name and I found out that I thought it was named Michael had given it. It turned out I just made it up. I call it Spirit Dances because it feels like such a dance. So I want you to take a moment and think about where you go to help repair yourself when you're in the midst of a lot of conflict, anger, frustration, hurt. Where do you go to repair yourself? And by the where, it could be a physical location, or it could be, a practice that restores you, that helps you to elevate. I think Michael's piece, it helped me, and it helps us to elevate from the nitty-gritty sometimes, because what we know about transformation is that it's messy. Most of the time, it's not absolute or all black or all white. Most of the time, there's messiness involved. There's principles, and there's also ego. There's, standing on the ground of justice, and there's self-righteousness. We're not pure. We're all still evolving. And so how we, who we are in the midst of our conversations and struggles and movements is our evolving selves. So I just wanted to take some time to talk about what it takes to be an instrument, a vessel, and to see that as a practice rather than as, oh yeah, I'm a vessel, like it's complete, but more like it's a practice to return again and again to allowing ourselves to be a vessel for the divine, for our ancestors, for that deep wisdom inside of us. It's a practice of clearing out. Michael mentioned cleansing. So music can be that practice. It could be a prayer that you could say again and again that helps to function as a cleansing. So I wanted to share with you a prayer. But I will share it a little bit later. I just looked at the program and realized, oh, I jumped ahead. So before we go there to the prayer, I want to share another poem. And this is a poem that was written in the midst of heartbreak over the anti-Blackness, the onslaught on Black life in this country. And it's not a place I go into often, but it's part of what's there. It's part of what needs to be acknowledged. So I'm going to share this poem. It's called Say Her Name. And it's in honor of Sandra Bland and her family. Say her name. It's dark in here. I can't breathe in here. Chanting and calling and preaching and reaching out to from me. I can't cry. I will not cry. Why must I cry again? I am 11. I tell him, don't, please don't. But I speak so quietly. Don't. No, don't, no, no, no. I can't breathe in here. So dark in here. What can I say in here? Pray in here. I am 48. A flag waves in the parking lot across from the Quaker meeting. I see the lines, the colors, the waving. It's a bright, sunny Sunday. Lots of pickup trucks and people milling about the parking lot. Some lines, some colors, some waving. But not for me. Not for us. What do? My son points out the flag. Get in the car, I say. Let's go, I say. Don't look at the trucks, the men, the women, their skins. He jokes. I don't laugh. Get in the car, I say. Just get in the car! We drive. We don't speak of it. I can't breathe in here. I can't feel in here. I can't sing. I can't do nothing. Try to forget. Try to forgive. Too quiet. Too quiet in here. I don't want to say her name. I don't say it. I will light you up, he said. He tased. He threw her to the ground. He put his foot in her back. He pulled her hair. He threw her into a cell. She banged into a wall, a chair. She was found, they say, with a belt pulled too tight. I don't want to say her name. I won't say her name. She looks like me, my daughter, my sister, my friend. I don't want to say her name. I don't want to know they found her dead. I don't want to know it was a traffic stop. I don't want to know if and when it will be me. I can't take all of this. I hear nothing. I know nothing. No. But the panther on my chest strains. She growls, paces, pants, prowls underneath the talk of laundry, bills, sleepovers, dates. Quietly, so quietly, she growls. I muffle her, I muzzle her, but I'm choking. Say her name. God, I can't breathe in here. Say her name. The panther strains against the chains. I can't cry in here. Say her name. The panther spits. Can't wail in here. Say her name. Her jaws open. Her eyes slit. And she leaps out of me. Her name is Sandra Bland. Please join me in putting a hand on your heart or on your belly, on your cheeks, wherever feels good, feels right for you. When you return to the breath, you let go of the thoughts. Filling ourselves with this air. Allowing it to fill the belly. Allowing it to feel the heart center. Filling the heart. And taking your second hand, if that's available to you, and putting it on top of that first hand. And as if that second hand was saying to the first hand, just allow these words to be said. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And when you're ready, just nice and slow, open your eyes if you've closed them. And I want to share a little bit about that prayer before leading you to the final part of our sharing tonight, which will be another prayer that we've used for cleansing and healing. So that prayer comes out of the Ho'oponopono tradition. And it's something that you can just say over and over and over again. Whatever your role is and whatever is stuck or whatever is broken, when you say, I'm sorry, it's apologizing for whatever way in which you're complicit in it, whichever way you are helping to co-create it. Please forgive me. I think it speaks for itself. Thank you. So it could be thank you to the universe, thank you to the divine, thank you to our ancestors, thank you to your brave heart for showing up and being willing. Thank you to all the people who are in this drama and the struggle with you. I love you. Maybe I love you to yourself. I love you to all those involved. I love you, God, Goddess. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I have learned in this period of quarantine and uprising and heightened injustice, I have learned that the lane that I'm in, that the authentic place for me to stand is in a space of humility. And tenderness. Tempering the anger. I want to share with you, more could be said on that, but I'm going to transition us to this last prayer that's been so powerful in my life of Michael, and in Michael's life. It's called the Effective Prayer, and it was shared with me by a mentor who I called up in a moment of despair. And she sent me this prayer. And what I want you to know is that she said to me, I want to read you a little bit about what I wrote. So around mid-April, I hit rock bottom. I had lost trust. I was in deep conflict with Michael and our family. Almost no one was willing to invest in racial justice, private mentoring, which is what my business is built around. And then I got an email that one of my beloved mentors, who did this quote, Sonia, was dying imminently. So it was rough. So I called in this spiritual teacher who I lovingly refer to as the big dog. When things are really hard, you have to have a big dog in your life. So I called the big dog. And she sent me this prayer that I'm going to share with you. And she said, say this prayer for 2 weeks, morning and night, and it's created miracles for her and for other people. So I leaned on her faith in that space that I was in where I felt I was losing everything and I had no ground. Her faith, I was willing to trust her and lean on her faith. And that's a critical lesson. You don't have to have it sometimes. Sometimes you can lean on somebody else's. And I committed to stop listening to my mind, which was sending me down. I also committed to stop listening to my beloved's mind. Mind to mind is a dangerous relationship. You want to be heart to heart. And I promised to focus on the prayer because I had to put my mind somewhere. So the prayer became where I put the focus. And little by little, I got the ground underneath my feet. And I started to see the conflicts that we were in with a little more clarity. It's like you step back or step up, you elevate. So you can see it as opposed to only being on the inside of it. I did some ancestral healing regarding my own biological father, which, just so you know, father relationships play out in couple relationships. And my racial justice from the heart enterprise actually started to gain traction. We found ways to pivot in the new environment and started to serve more people at a deeper level. And now it's been generating enough revenue so there's some security, even though we are in uncertain times. This prayer has also brought us closer together as a couple and as a team. But I don't want you to think the prayer just does stuff on its own. What it does is it shifts you so that you can see things and say yes to the next right step for you, for the next opportunity for you to go in and learn and take some responsibility or to be brave. The prayer is a way when you're in a feeling of brokenness to let go of maybe holding on to the brokenness and to shift yourself toward your vision, what it is you want to be in, what you want to create. So this prayer itself is a journey and it's accompaniment on a journey. But I don't want you to feel locked into it. You know, we don't have we're non-creedal. So this prayer worked for me, so I'm sharing with you. You may have a Sufi chant that you can just put your mind on and repeat again and again. or you may have the Ho'oponopono that makes you. But I wanted to share this practice with you because what we did, being who we are, was in saying it again and again, I started to wanting to sing it, and I wanted to dance it, and I wanted to, create a rhythm with it. I wanted to not make it just talk, talk, talk. Okay. So we're gonna move forward. What?
Are you gonna read it first?
Yes. So now that I've built up that anticipation for it, let's put it out here in case we get nervous.
Do you want me to start it?
This is called the effective prayer, and I will share it with Ruth so she can share it with you if you would like to explore it.
Sure.
Yes, Michael, you can start.
I release all of my past, all of my negatives, all of my fears, all of my future, all of my self-image. I release my human desires, sex, money, communication, judgment. I release my human relationships to the light.
I am a light being.
I radiate the light from my light center to my physical body.
I radiate the light from my light center to all of my subtle bodies.
I radiate the light to everyone from my light center.
I radiate the light from my light center to everything.
I radiate the light from my light center to our blended family, that we may live in peace, love, and harmony, and reciprocal respect.
We are an unbroken circle of cooperation and mutual understanding.
I am in a bubble of light. Nothing but light will be here, and nothing but light can come to me.
I am in a bubble of light. Nothing but light can be here, and nothing but light can come to me.
We are in a bubble of light. Nothing but light can come here, and nothing but light can come to me.
Thank you, God,
for
everything, for everyone, and for me. So now we're going to share with you some of our musical kind of activity and funning with it. Thank you, Matt. I radiate the light from my light center throughout my being. I radiate the light from my light center to everyone. I radiate the light from my light center to every tree. I radiate the light from my light center to every mountain. I radiate the light from my light center to every rock. I radiate the light from my light center to everything. I radiate the light from my light center to our blended family, that we may have harmony, reciprocal respect, and love. We are an unbroken circle of cooperation and mutual understanding.
Only light to be here.
I'm in a bubble of light.
Only light to be here.
I'm in a bubble of light.
Only light.
Only light to be here.
I'm in a bubble of light.
Only light.
Only light to be here.
I'm in a bubble of light.
Only light.
Only light to be here.
I'm in a bubble of light.
Only light can only like to be here.
I'm in a bubble of light. 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 Thank you, God, for everything, for everyone, and for me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you. Thank you, John and Faith. So, we actually thought this was over at 9 o'clock because Amanda did not apparently read things clearly. So we don't have a lot of time for questions because Matt does not live with us. But we would love to maybe just take one or two from you, and we have the lovely, beautiful, intelligent Makeda Anthony Kemp, aka our daughter, whose job is to share a couple of questions out loud with us, and then we can see how we want to take them. So Makeda, in your immortal words, take it away, Francis.
Great job, Mom. That was really, really great.
Did you mean that, or are you just being professional?
Oh my gosh. I meant it, girl. Anyways, I'm sure once you read the comments at the end, you'll see. I think everyone is extremely grateful for what you just did. But one of the questions was people were wondering where they could get access to your poem, The Ancestors. You know, the ancestors are calling on you. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for asking. This poem is published in front of a play called Show Me the Franklins. Show Me the Franklins. And you can buy that on lulu.com, or you can get it on in Smashwords if you want an e-version of it. But I would also be happy to share it with Ruth. So that's a nice question. Thank you.
Okay, another one was they wanted to clarify what the name of the tradition that the prayer came from, the miracle prayer, and how they can access that prayer themselves.
If you contact me, because we actually, I have a version of me reading it out loud. I have a blog about it. So if you contact me at Amanda, if you go to my website, dramandakemp.com, and hit the contact button, just ask me, and I will be very happy to, hook you up.
All right, good, because it seems like a lot of people want that prayer.
Oh, a lot of people want the prayer. Well, we did kind of build it up, didn't we? I bet Matt wants the prayer.
Okay, I think those were the main feelings of these questions that I'm looking at. A lot of people want text copies. And a lot of people are feeling really moved and feel like Zoom isn't it doesn't almost feel like an appropriate platform to just show and share with you how moved they really are. So is there a way that you would like to, that people could reach out to you and let you know if they feel like doing that?
Yes, they could go to dramandakemp.com, and the contact button will allow you to send a message if you would like to, and I will share it with Michael and Matt so they know.
Okay, perfect. I think that's all I got for you, Mommy.
Okay, well, I just want to give Matt Woodson, who has said nothing the whole night verbally. I just want to give you a chance, Matt. If you want to say anything verbally, I'm going to give you the head.
Verbally. Okay. Well, yes, well, like Amanda said, my name is Matthew. It's been a pleasure playing tonight. This has been amazing. It's been a journey, but it's been a very, very good journey.
Yes.
A well-needed journey.
Yes.
But yeah, I loved it. I'm glad everyone could join in. You know, I want to read some of those comments. I see there's like, it looks like there's 1,000 comments. They were just coming in. I was like, man, yeah, I have a book to read after this. Yeah.
Michael, did you want to have any last words?
No.
I said it.
Michael said, I said enough on my violin.
Well, then I think, especially since we've kept Matt here a half hour longer than we told him it would be, perhaps this would be a good time to turn it over to you, Marvin, and to thank you and thank Khalik and Ruth for being such good stewards of us. We really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. This has been outstanding. And I've been following some of the comments and people are just ecstatic. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd like to close out the evening with a few moments of silence. We can just take a few moments, reflect upon what you just experienced. Thank you, friends. Have a good night. We will see everyone in the morning. Thank you, Amanda, Michael, and Matt, and your daughter.